to a deadline.
Yeah.
And you have that deadline very clear.
Absolutely. And we are trying to write a book in 40 hours, so.
I know. Oh, gosh.
It's not 14
So we've got...
years there.
Good morning, Catherine and Devorah. How are you?
Hi, Gertrude. Oh, first words I've spoken this morning.
You're excused. You're excused.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce you to Farhad. We're going to wait for the others to come. But
Hello, Farhad.
we have
Nice
some...
to meet you.
Nice to meet you
And
too.
if you two just want to introduce yourself, say where you are in the world.
Okay, Farhad, I'm from Australia, so I'm near Melbourne in Australia, and I'm writing a business book with my husband.
Oh, excellent. Nice
Yeah.
to meet you, Catherine.
Thank you, too.
And
Devorah?
I'm Devorah Fox. I'm in South Texas on the Gulf Coast, and I am finishing my second novel, which is the second in a series. I just uploaded it to CreateSpace today, the interior and the cover file, and they don't have any issues. So tomorrow I will be proofing and ordering a print proof.
wow.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, she was the first to finish, Farhad.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
She's
it sounds like it's coming on.
I'm an experienced marathon writer.
Ah. And hello, we have someone else as well.
Right, if you guys can just introduce yourselves. I'm busy trying to get everybody else online.
So I think I'll wait till everybody's joined and then I'll introduce myself to the whole group rather than repeating it to everybody who comes in one by one.
But if you guys can introduce yourselves to Farhad, that would be good. I'm just trying to reach out to everyone else.
So I think we've got two Margaret.
No, Margaret's connection normally jumps around. I'm not sure if it's her internet connection that's a problem.
I only have a problem with Google Hangouts. Everything else is fine.
Hey, Margaret, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
My name's Margaret Cruz. I'm a life and spiritual coach and energy worker, and my book is for mums rediscovering themselves after their children have gone to school. And it's really based around everything that I've learnt in the last 10 to 15 years, all about universal principles, mindset, the way we feel, and what we want to create in the world. So I'm very excited, and I've got the last two chapters to record today, and they'll be sent off to you later today.
Wow. Nice
Fantastic.
to meet you, Margaret.
Steffi, hey, good morning or good evening. Steffi's in the UK.
Hi.
Steffi, would you like to just quickly introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Steffi Dawn. I'm an author of erotic novellas, and I'm working on a young adults novel under a different name for this.
Hi, Steffi. I'm in London as well, so same time zone.
Late.
Late, yeah. Well, 11 o'clock. I don't usually go to bed that soon or that late.
To be a bit different now. It has been pretty crazy for me catching up with people from Japan to the UK to Australia to the US. Yeah, it's been awesome though.
Well, good job getting a time when everyone can make it, Gertrude.
This one seems to work, and I've introduced a new one at 1 o'clock my time, which would be 7 p.m. Pacific time. So the Pacific Coast people are at work now, so they've asked me to introduce a new time.
Okay. Are we waiting for any more people?
I think we can proceed. Anybody else who comes in, we'll just introduce them as they come. So if you'd like to introduce yourself, Farhad, to the group and the objective of today's hangout. Oh, Chris, hey, good morning. Oops, he's gone again. Okay, he's on a cell phone, then that normally happens. So you can proceed.
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Farhad Devecha, as Gertrude said already. I am the managing director of a marketing agency in London. The agency is called Akiracast, and Gertrude initially sent out a request for assistance and information on Harrow, which is a website called Help a Reporter Out. It's a website where journalists asked for information from various sources. I replied because she asked about affiliate marketing to help with the book launches. I replied, we got talking, we hit it off, and there was this amazing vibe and chemistry on the conversation, and we were literally bouncing ideas off the walls and off each other. And as a result, I said it'd be great to meet with you guys and talk to you about the ideas. So what we're hoping to do today is I'll tell you a bit about myself like I am right now, and then I'll tell you a bit about what Gertrude and I have been talking in terms of the process of taking these wonderful works that you guys are creating and unleashing them, if you want, to the entire world, and how we can do that in the most sensible, cost-effective manner and still reach as large an audience as possible. So that's the objective. And did I talk enough about myself, or would you like to know anything else?
Explain how you worked with in terms of bringing Google to the UK and Europe.
Yes, of course. So in terms of my professional credentials, I've been working in online marketing since 2000. I founded my agency in 2004, and since day one, our entire whole and soul, and my entire whole and soul, has been about innovation. So it's been about getting small businesses, medium businesses, and large businesses to face up to really challenging markets, situations, and use an innovative approach to get their message and get their products, brand, services, whatever it is they're trying to sell, get it out there to a mass audience and get them to reach a lot of people. A great example of the innovation that we indulge in is when Google launched something called the Google Affiliate Network. They only did so in a limited beta in the USA, as they always do. And I managed to dig up a few phone numbers, made a few calls, and got hold of the program manager and told him, listen, we want to test it in the UK. We think there is a great market. We want to drive it out here. Luckily for me, that guy agreed to, and we became the first agency in the UK to actually test this whole new network that Google launched since then, and it's called the Google Affiliate Network. It became very big. It's now metamorphosizing and becoming something else. But in many ways, it highlights the innovation that me and my company like to push. And I think based on that, Gertrude and I were talking, and I think a lot of that innovation appealed to Gertrude. If I may paraphrase you here, Gertrude.
Yes.
It was definitely a driver in the chemistry, and one of the ideas that I came up with, I think, if I may say so myself, is really good and a great way to push all the great work that you guys are going to create, and I'm going to walk you through it just now. So, in terms of my professional credentials, though, that innovation and that drive to do things differently and get to mass markets has led to us working with some very, very large brands, as well as some really small companies that started off as one-man, two-man operations and then grew up to be household names in the UK or in the USA or even abroad. And our clientele ranges from things like Emirates Airlines or the NHS, that's the UK National Health Service, to the Republic of Korea's tourist office, LG Electronics, down to, like I said, really small brands that probably you haven't heard of unless you live on the same street as them. And with each and every one, we have, I believe, I haven't done the stats for about a year, but we've had a 99.99% success rate driving and, achieving and surpassing the actual goals set to us. So we're pretty good and we know what we're doing.
Fantastic. Thanks, Fahad. Okay, so you want to launch into your presentation. I did post it on the Facebook group wall, so all of you guys should have it, but I think you could share the screen and just walk us through it and walk us through the strategy.
Yes, so I'm going to share my screen, and if you can just let me know that all of you are able to see it.
Yeah.
Can everyone see it?
We can see it.
Excellent. So
yes.
I've called it How to Launch a Book, because here it's not going to be, the launch is not going to happen in 40 hours, even though you guys are so amazing and actually wrote it in 40 hours. I would have taken about 2 years to write it and launch it in 3 weeks. You guys are doing the exact opposite, but I still think we need to take a full 3 weeks to launch. So let's talk about how to launch a book. We'll talk about the plan. So what we're looking at is starting off with a teaser. Gertrude's been taking a lot of videos. She's been doing Hangouts on air with you guys. We are going to troll through all of those videos and select a handful of them, which we will then use as teasers to hook people in, tell people about the concept, the idea, and then be able to drive that word of mouth. So we get a teaser, we get initial coverage on it, we then spread the word based on that teaser and the coverage before your books are even launched. So what we're trying to do is get people excited, get them thinking, oh, this is going to be interesting, I want to find out more. Get people to think, this is something I want to learn about, let's see what it is. That sort of excitement, we're drumming it up a few weeks before the actual launch. And we're drumming it up is kind of key, because what that means is we're not just doing one exercise and then saying, all right, let's wait till launch and then do a big launch. What we're doing is constantly feeding things into people's inboxes, into their social streams, and so on. We take that social word of mouth, build it up till the time of launch. There'll be a bunch of activities around launch itself, and a lot more coverage and more videos created and put out there. And then what we do is share those videos and articles and coverage, etc., that has been created. Share the videos on YouTube and other video mediums, but also share everything socially on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, on Google+, etc. Now, the reason why we thought video was a great way to do this was when Gertrude, I'll walk you guys through the conversation that Gertrude and I had initially. When we started talking about this, we were just bouncing ideas off each other, and one of the things we thought about was, all of you are real people with real stories, real things to relate to others, real information that you want to share. We can take snippets of a book and push them around. We can give people previews, and that's tried and tested, and it's done, and it works quite well. If we want to take this a step further, we need to hit people with the reality of each and every one of you. And to do so, nothing is more effective than video. A picture will tell 1,000 words. A video is worth 1,000 pictures. So what we were thinking was, we take videos, we take little snippets of what it is that you guys have created, maybe the most poignant bits, maybe the most interesting bits, maybe the most funny bits of what you created, turn them into these short teaser 2-minute videos, nothing more than 2 minutes. That's extremely important. The average YouTube user's attention span is nothing more than 2 minutes. So we take these videos, we turn them into little video snippets, and we start seeding them out there. Just to give you an example, if you've had a really interesting story, say, for example, you attempted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro, you talk about what led you to that decision, you talk about the yay or nays, and you talk about the actual exhilaration of doing it and getting up there. But maybe we don't tell people all of those things in the teaser video. What we would do is pick the most exciting bits. So say halfway up the mountain, somebody had to give up and you were in 2 minds whether or not you had to give up. Maybe just that little bit, you talking about it, could be so interesting, and it leaves people thinking, oh, so did you actually do it? Did you have to give up? How did you feel when you gave up? It's that sort of a cliffhanger that we want to bring people up to. So we're not giving everything away. We're telling them something really interesting, drawing them in, showing them you're a real person with real life experiences, real knowledge, real drama, if you want, even, to convey to people. And then we leave them hanging for the punchline, if you want, or leave them hanging for what actually happens. Now, with the teaser videos, it's extremely important that when we're talking, we look very sincere and very honest. Nothing sells better than reality. I mean, we don't want a Hollywood production. We're not selling a Hollywood production. We're selling real books written by real people and real lives. So keep that sincerity, honesty, and keep it succinct so that people get drawn in. People think, wow, this is compelling. This is really interesting. I want to know more. How do I find out more? By getting the book. Did you guys have any questions on this part? No? That's good.
What we'll do with questions, guys, if you have questions, put them in the chat window, and then I will call you one by one so that we do it in an organized fashion. So if there's any questions,
okay.
If you're happy, just say happy in the chat window and we'll move on.
Okay, excellent. If you'll need me
there is a question, Fahad.
Okay, yes. Where is the chat window, Catherine?
If you look on, you know where you did the screen share?
Yeah.
Just underneath it, there should be a little button, chat. Yeah, and then it'll pop up on your extreme left. And Steffi's just asked, how would the Be Honest work with fiction? So she is writing fiction book, and there's a couple of authors writing fiction as well.
Yeah, but with the fiction, you obviously don't need to look at the honesty part because that doesn't work. But be real still. You're still relating a story which has come out of your mind. So talk about it as a real person would. You're not Angelina Jolie trying to sell the next Mr. and Mrs. Smith movie. You are a real person who's writing some amazing piece of fiction. Talk about that and maybe relate your favorite part of it and relate it as though it was you or happening to you. The best fiction, as we know, makes a real picture in people's minds. Even though it's fictional, it's still creating a reality through your words and through what you're saying. So that is what you're trying to create. Obviously, it's not an honest picture, but people understand that when it's fiction. What I meant was that don't try to be anyone other than yourself. That's the honesty that I needed to convey. We're not trying to sell J.K. Rowling's next series of Harry Potter. We are trying to sell real people's real works, and their own hard work and their own stories that they've created or they've lived or they've written about. And I think it's important to understand the difference, because if we try to sell it as an ultra polished piece of work, you're up against a very different market than, if you're selling it as someone real, someone everybody can relate to. Yeah.
Awesome.
Can I just ask, if y'all have a question, let me know, because I'm looking at the PowerPoint on my screen and I can't see both together. Or let me see if I can.
Well, what I will do is I can see the questions, and what I'll do is I'll highlight them as we go. So Margaret says, how are you choosing the authors to video?
Yeah.
I am going to do interviews with all of you guys, and Farhad will choose the ones that he will use for these different pieces. So there's going to be multiple video pieces that will go out with this campaign. So based on how you're coming across, how authentic you are, how interesting your story is, Farhad's company will pick those authors who are coming across and really engaging other people and hooking them into the story. And this is why it's important that just be yourselves, be authentic. You're ordinary people doing an extraordinary thing, and that's what we're selling.
And also, if I can add to that, when we choose, I'm not going to be choosing. If you're not one of the 5 that get picked for the initial teaser, you don't need to worry, because what we're doing is choosing what we think will initially draw in people to the whole concept. You see, it's akin to a fashion show. A fashion designer does not necessarily show the clothes that they put on the rack at a fashion show. They're selling a concept. And then when you go into the store, you're buying the real clothes. So there will be videos for each and every one of you. And when we're pushing the actual books and the individual pieces of work, all of those will get pushed individually, each individual video. However, we can't take 100 individual videos and try to push all of them as a teaser. It stops being a teaser, it starts being a barrage of videos. So that's what we need to not do. So what we're trying to do is select one, or possibly one from each genre, which we think is most marketable for an initial teaser campaign. That does not also mean that it isn't marketable in the long run. It just means that it might not be the right thing for the initial teaser, but it will still be pushed just as much and just as hard at the actual launch campaign. So don't worry about it. If it's not going to be a cull or a selection that goes, okay, you're not part of the 5, you've lost out already. Absolutely not the case. And, we make sure that that isn't what's happening. So if I move on from the teaser part, what we're talking about next is you've created the videos. Obviously, Gertrude's going to be writing an article on the Huffington Post. Ideally, that article will link to the site for how to write a book in 40 hours and allow people to see more information. It'll allow people to find out what this whole project's all about. And the article itself will feature a teaser video. If we can maybe get 5 or 6 teaser videos in there as a slideshow, as sometimes Huffington Post does. But the idea being we want to make it get some really good coverage, and hopefully off the back of that Huffington Post coverage, we might even get other blogs and journals and so on talking about it. But even that Huffington Post mention alone should be enough to get quite a lot of people interested in talking about what this whole concept's going to be. We then take that, so we take the videos that you guys have created, we take the coverage that we've got, and we push that socially. So we start sharing the article itself on a bunch of social networks. We start virally spreading the teaser video through places like Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Pinterest, and a bunch of other social networks as well if we think they're relevant. LinkedIn maybe for the business publications, um, DeviantArt maybe for other things. So we look at what the best social networks for each of those teaser plots is and push it. And we push it with, wow, check out this awesome footage, really makes you reevaluate principles that you had. Or I came across this video and I couldn't but reshare it and share this with all of your friends because it really is amazing and people need to find out. That sort of stuff. It 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 will need to be something compelling. It'll need to be something that makes you take notice. And what Gertrude said in the conversation we had was quite opening in some ways. We are creating a genre of, a whole new genre of how to books and how to sell books. And while this might initially not apply to all of you, we will make it apply over the run to each and every one by making sure that all the various applications, all the various books are put in the right networks with the right sort of interest categories out there. But for the teaser campaign initially, we're looking at the main ones. We're looking at Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and Pinterest, giving people these lovely snippets and getting it shared virally so that lots of people find out about it. I will talk about the social sharing bit with you guys again in a bit when we come to launch. So in terms of time frame, we're looking at the first piece of coverage going out next week. We have a follow-up where Gertrude talks about the trials and tribulations of writing a book. And then you have a third article. I'm sorry, out here it says second, but it should actually be a third article going out on Huffington Post. Oops. Okay. That's Windows being nice for us. Yep, so the third article going out on Huffington Post to coincide with the actual launch. So you've written your books, you've got them ready to publish, and now we're unleashing them on the world. All of your videos will now be uploaded to the dedicated YouTube channel that we're creating so that everybody can take their piece and push it. And the books will be now made widespreadly or largely available to download, to order by mail, to order by catalog, or all sorts of ways and means. So once that launch has happened, what we then need to do, obviously, is start pushing it again much more in a much more focused and hard manner. The first thing would be promotion on YouTube itself, promoting the videos within the YouTube network by optimizing the content, by pushing the videos themselves. You can advertise on YouTube, so people looking for how to write a book, for example, would find out about this. People looking for erotica to be read out to them, they would find it. People looking for business videos, people looking for inspirational stories, all of those sorts of keywords, we would have a little promoted video ad on YouTube that drives people to your relevant or the relevant playlist of such videos. People can see those videos. Within the videos, you'd have a link like the one I've just highlighted out here. The one on the bottom shows within the video. The screenshot on top shows an example that you see with YouTube music videos, and we can try and talk to YouTube and get them to link directly to the book sites to be able to download the stories. The idea again being that people who watch your videos, hear about your stuff, have a very direct way to click through and buy it and share it and push it to their friends. And we do
so
that
what Farhad is saying here, guys, sorry, Farhad, can I just reiterate
sure.
there?
Yep.
what we're trying to do is to do what the music industry has done for musicians. And we're doing this for authors, and it has never been done. Can you see that? We're going to be personalizing the buying experience for people who want to buy books. They get to meet the author. There'll be a little video there with you saying, hi, thanks for buying my book. The reason why I wrote the book is A, B, C, D. We're putting an interface between the reader and the author, and it hasn't been done. I'm really excited about this. Sorry, I just wanted to reiterate that because YouTube has already done it for musicians. And now what we want to do is convince YouTube to do it for authors, and we will be the first in the world to do this. You can go on, Fahad. I'm just so excited about this.
So it is really exciting. And Steffi, for your point, you don't necessarily even need to show your face. I mean, with your genre, people are absolutely fine listening to a voice behind an image or a series of images, and that's absolutely fine as well. I can also recommend that you go to websites like, I think there's something called Extra Normal, and then there's a few others where you can have animated characters and do a voiceover behind them. So you have a lot of different options. You can blur out faces, you can do all sorts. So if you don't want to necessarily be on video, you just want to lend your voice to it, that's an option as well. The idea, though, being that you're making the books come to life for people. You're not letting them, it's really passive selling when all you're doing is giving snippets of a book, a paragraph or something, and people don't necessarily know what is actually behind the story. Here you're giving it out there. You're putting a real face to your literature. And it is it's a very compelling proposition, I think. And, the music industry did it. In the 60s and 70s, people didn't have MTV, and musicians sang, but they didn't have a face necessarily to their voice. And then music videos came along and just revolutionized that. And there's no reason why authors and book writers can't do the same. You are, at the end of the day, sharing your personal experiences, your own information. You're not talking about necessarily complete irrelevant nonsense. Even if you're writing fiction, it's coming from your brain. And to be able to spell that out and tell the audience is quite extraordinary. And we want to do that and capitalize and push it really well, so that people who look at that, people who are searching for most of the terms that we bid on wouldn't even expect to find an author actually talking about it. But when they do, they're going to sit up and take notice and go, wow, that really is amazing. So, sorry, I'm also reading Steffi's comments, and that made me laugh with what she just said about your mom reading it. So absolutely do not talk about it. You're fine there. I think you'll get the idea, though, if I'm not wrong. You'll get the general concept of selling the real person behind the books rather than just the books as a piece of paper. And if we move on, so we've got the videos, we're promoting them with ads on YouTube to make sure that people who are actually looking for videos find out and then can buy your books. We're making sure that the videos are up to the organic listings on YouTube itself. The videos start showing up, so we don't necessarily have to spend lots of money trying to push that. And from the videos, you obviously need to link to the book sales site so that people can buy and push the books. Buy and download and order, or whatever other mediums you're offering for all of your books. The next bit, this social sharing bit, which I'm talking about now, is possibly the most important part of this exercise. We will share the launch articles, we will share the videos, and then each and every one of you will have your video out there. On average, a Facebook user has about 150 friends. So if each and every one of you asks all of your friends to like, share, reshare, and tell their friends to like, share, and reshare. I just lost the screenshot. Sorry. So if you ask your friends and your friends ask their friends to like, share, and then reshare these pieces of work, 100 authors times 150 friends equals to 15,000 shares of this whole concept in the project. Multiply that by then each and every one of your friends maybe asking 2 or 3 of their friends, and the momentum picks up, and suddenly this has become a little tidal wave of people who are finding out about your work, being able to go on there and find out what you've written, what other people have written, and there'll be a lot of cross-pollination happening. And the bit where it's really important is the fact that we've got this amazing group of 100 authors. If just I did it, I'd have 150 friends. Maybe I've got 200 friends on Facebook. I've got 6,000 friends on Google+. But at the end of the day, it's 6,150. That's it, and maybe a few more reshares. When you're suddenly multiplying that number by 100 authors, you are looking at massive reach. And that sort of momentum in and of itself will start getting you noticed, and will start getting this whole project picked up on places like BuzzFeed, on What's Hot, on Social Share, on viral news networks. And suddenly we've got this whole concept going viral and so much more exposure for each and every one of you. But the important part is that each and every one of you has to contribute. If all of you go, I'm not really going to tell all of my friends, I feel a bit embarrassed about it, I would say, why the hell are you writing a book if you're embarrassed to share? You can't say that the other people are going to do it, so I'm not going to do it. Don't treat it that way, because then if all of us thought of it that way, none of us would end up getting anywhere. But make sure that you push it. Don't be shy to ask your friends to reshare. Don't be shy to ask for a like. Our research has found that on social networks, you have to spell it out. You have to tell people, hey, I've written a book. Look at this video. Please share it. Please like it. You have to tell people, please like it, please share it. And please ask your friends to also share it. Get the word out. I've put in my life's labor into this piece of work. Do it, please. You have to ask them. If you don't ask them, people don't do it. But if you ask them, people are, I forget, is it 3.5 or 5.5 times more likely? The number literally multiplies in terms of the number of likes and reshares that you actually get of your work, if you just simply ask people to like and reshare. And then obviously when they like and they reshare, all of their friends, so you've got 150 friends times their 150 friends, all of those people suddenly get to see, yep, oh, this fellow's liked this book, and you're suddenly multiplying the numbers crazily. I mean, you're reaching lots and lots and lots of people very quickly. And if we do it smartly, if we do it the right way, it'll work. So we're creating the videos. Gertrude and you are creating the videos. We're going to be optimizing them. We're also going to be looking at all of your books, taking lovely quotes out of them, and making very nice banners, images, quotes like the one you see out here. If you look, you see there's a quote which just says, as people grow up, they realize that it becomes less important to have more friends and more important to have real ones. That sort of inspirational quotes, they actually do really well on social networks. Now imagine if you had the same sort of reach as this little quote out here. I mean, they've got 1,000 likes, 84 comments, and 2,900 reshares, is it? Which is a massive number. It's a big, big number for each and every one of you to then generate and then push forward. So we'll create these nice little social memes, as we call them. And if you like, we can include your picture. If you like, we can just have a quote and say, from this book, buy the book out here. A lot of different ways we can use this. And me and my colleagues will create these. We'll obviously work with you guys to figure out which is the best bit of your book to sell the book. You know, what is it that you're trying to sell? What is the best part? If you want the elevator pitch of your book, put in an image format. what part of your book will capture people's attention in 5 seconds or in 10 seconds, and push it out there. And we'll help you create that and give it back to you so that you can unleash it on your networks and make sure all of that sharing happens. You also obviously share the launch videos. And like I said, the excerpts from your book is spoiling memes. And all of that sharing generates massive, massive awareness, which I don't need to tell you guys what happens when lots of people find out that you've written a book and start getting interested in reading about it. Your book starts selling. So that is the general idea. We take this big mass of authors and use the momentum of each and every one of us and push it out there. Now, there are two elements which we need to cover off as well. One, I've said the social sharing needs to work. If you remember out here, I mentioned promotion on YouTube. If we think about promoting on YouTube, that costs money. You need to be able to bid on keywords and then get people to view the videos. In order to get that sort of coverage, my company, we've traditionally done this with a lot of other companies, much larger as well, with much larger budgets. But what I was talking to Gertrude was that if each and every one of you could just contribute $100, that gets us a sizable enough budget that we could push this to a massive audience on YouTube itself. And then above and beyond YouTube, on Writer's Corners, on related websites, on Facebook, on Twitter, all of these places, we can also build up the website to make it much nicer, to make the website more attractive to people, and make it easier for people to then look at your videos, make it buyer friendly, reader friendly, and obviously able to sell what you guys are wanting to tell the whole world. So it's not a lot of money. We're going to say it's voluntary, so we're not going to force you guys, but the more you can contribute, the more we can then push it. What we're trying to do is we're plowing all of this back into promoting your books and your business. And if you can contribute that little, what it allows us to do is advertise much, much more. And again, we've got this multiplying factors. Each one of you might think again, $100 isn't going to get me anything. You're right, $100 in itself doesn't get you anything, but multiply that by 100 people, and we've suddenly got a big enough budget that you can actually make a serious dent. Just to give you an idea, $1,000 would get you 10,000 YouTube views, typically. 7,000 to 12,000, an average around 10,000 YouTube views. Can you imagine what 10,000 YouTube views are? Just 1,000, multiply that by 10, what sort of coverage we're talking on YouTube alone? So sorry, again, I was reading Steffi's and Catherine's comment. It is very exciting, and when Gertrude and I first talked about this, we were so excited. I had goosebumps on my head. I was like, oh my God, this is a project I want to be involved in. I can see how this is, it's changing the way books are sold. It's changing the way small, unsigned authors are able to reach out to masses. And that's the whole beauty of the internet, isn't it? It's a level playing field. And we've got a mass which can, in some ways, make that level playing field a very unfair advantage for us. So I think it's a great opportunity. And, the important thing that it rests on is your participation, you making the videos, you telling us. So when you go away from this, I would like all of you to have a think, what is, in 2 minutes, if I have to say, what is the best part of my book? What is it going to be? What is it that's going to make people just want to buy the book? And I can guide you on this, but I think you all know your books much better than I do, and so you need to be able to think that up and say, all right, if your book is about your personal life, think of the most life-changing experience and tell us about it. If your book is about business, think of the 5 most important things you have to share and, tell them without giving the whole plot away. if your book is about self-help, then say what you're trying to achieve and the maybe 4 or 5 best outcomes you would hope to get out of that, without actually telling people how they would get to those outcomes. So think about this, and then we can come back to it. And you talked that point out in the video itself. The other thing that obviously we rely on is everybody contributing, so that once we have all of this momentum, we can also give it that one last bit of push, and that's an important bit. You know, when I'm talking to clients, I always tell them that no matter how good the content is, at times it just fails. For example, you might have the most compelling piece of news, you think, and you launch it out there and you think, oh my God, CNN and NBC and ABC News and the BBC and everybody's going to jump on it. And the next thing you know, Al-Qaeda goes and attacks New Delhi and bombs it to the ground, and nobody cares about your news. And that is the worst thing that can happen. The video promotion on YouTube and the advertising, what that allows us to do is make sure that whether that happens or not, you are giving yourself that extra push. So it is very important that we do both parts of it. And as a marketing person, I hate putting all our eggs in one basket. So I think it's very important that we do the social, the power of many, but we also put in some hard, non-fluffy, if you want. I'm struggling for words. We have some things that we know will deliver no matter what. And when you pay for advertising, that delivers no matter what. And that's why it's important to do both, and for everyone to do both. So I think that pretty much encapsulates everything. Now, if you guys have any questions, feel free to fire away. I hope I didn't bore you too much with all of my talking, but I'm really passionate. I think this will work. I think this is so exciting, and I can't wait to tell other people about this. So let's do it.
So listen, guys, let's have a few minutes for questions. Just put your question in the chat window, and I'll call you one by one. And if somebody's talking, the rest of you mute your sound so we don't have any background sound. Or we could all unmute and just give Farhad a round of applause.
Oh, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
You're making me blush.
Okay, mute.
Stop.
I think what you've done is you have just taken this game and pushed it to the next level, Farhad. I am just so excited. So let's get those questions in, girls, while we have them online.
I think you're right there.
Say that again?
I said I think you're right there. I think we really have got a little golden nugget here, and it's going to be so much fun to push it.
The other thing I've been thinking of is co-authoring a book called How to Get Free Publicity. And I want to suggest to the group that you all start looking at all of your local publications. Like Steffi's just mentioned that she's got a local press release out. Start thinking of all of your local publications, and we'll create a press release that goes out to them as well, to kind of at home first, and then it'll go viral to bigger media outlets. Robin, you said you're thinking of PR Web? Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a great idea to do it locally. I think when you'll do the local thing, also mention that you're part of this bigger thing, because that you've got that special hook in here. It's one thing saying you're hook and it's going to be about this, people will be interested, but if you suddenly tell them, and with this groundbreaking new idea and doing this thing, suddenly you're giving the reporters a whole lot more interesting stuff to write about. I think you can do individual press releases as well as the larger global press release. So I wouldn't say no to doing your individual ones, because each and every one of you is an individual, and you're going to have some local celebrity status as well for being part of this. So definitely go ahead and reach out to the local press. But I think give them the hook. We'll also do the blanket bigger press release for the whole story. And I mean, we've got Gertrude out here who writes for Huffington Post. That is the holy grail of online news and journalism. You couldn't get much better than that. So there's definitely some really good stuff in there.
And the other one we could put it on is the CNN report, Farhad.
Sorry, go on, Gertrude.
CNN would be another good one. CNN report would be another excellent platform. And what I'm thinking is with CNN report, any of you can do this, because I normally do my videos and I just post it online, right? So now we have people from probably 50 to 60 different countries. And if you each did a small little CNN report video and posted it online with a copy of your, this is going to be huge.
That is a very good idea.
On an international level, this is massive.
Yep.
As well. So any questions, guys? Let's get some questions out here. Margaret, you want to speak?
Sure. I was just wondering about the process. Should we have our books up on CreateSpace and Amazon up and ready for people to buy before we start marketing?
So the quick answer is yes. If you can, why not?
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's my thought. That's why I haven't started pushing.
Yeah, I think that's really important because this is why we started markets with the book covers. This is why I always start with book covers, because you can pre-sell a book before it's even out. And on CreateSpace, I know a lot of people have experienced problems creating it without the book being finished. But what you do is once you've chosen the size of your book, you download the template that they for that size. And that's what you upload as a dummy interior of the book. So you upload your cover, you upload their template, and then it will create the book, and then you can promote and pre-sell. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. I'm just a bit stuck on that how bit of getting it set up. Yeah. I think I just have to go in and play a bit more in CreateSpace.
Yeah, you'll find that in CreateSpace, when you start picking the size of your book, there is a section where you can download a template, a formatted template. And it normally has about 100 pages in it, and it's just gobbledygook text. But they have already formatted and given you a template to copy and paste what you're typing into the template.
Mm-hmm.
So all you do is turn that template into a PDF and upload that as if it's your book, just to finish the creation process.
Okay, and then so when people buy it, then not until we actually upload our real book, then it will automatically get ordered.
We tell Amazon. Mm-hmm. We tell Amazon that we are pre-selling.
Ah, okay.
We will inform them that we are pre-selling and that the book will come out in 3 months' time or in a week's time or whatever timeline you set for your book. You will tell Amazon that.
Now it makes more sense. Thank you.
Because a lot of authors pre-launch and pre-sell their books. They have book launches and the book isn't even finished yet. And people can go onto Amazon and order, and the minute that they finally upload the final version, then everybody who's ordered gets the book.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, so what Farhad's going to do is he's going to create a page. Oh, sorry, Robin, go for it.
Okay. Just so I get this straight, we've got
Robin.
You're recommending that that this is all optimized from the central website, which is Write a Book in 40 Hours. my understanding also is that we have to buy our own URLs and set up our own Pinterest accounts and Facebook page for our book. So I think it's really important, maybe, Gertrude, that we get a one-line link back to write the book in 40 hours so that it's really consistent across the group. And I think maybe, Fahad, you could guide us on this a little?
Yes, I think a good idea would be to actually do it both ways. So from the way I see it, the main central website would almost have an individual profile page for each and every one of you in each and every book. And therefore, each and every such profile page would obviously then link back to your own individual spaces, and you can have multiple profiles. So if you're happy for people to connect with you on social networks, go ahead and put social network information on there. If you're happy to have people just look at your book website or your Facebook and Pinterest account, that be it. And if you just want people to go to Amazon and download it, but not have anything to do with you personally or your book's social profile, that's fine as well. I think what this allows us to do is, in some ways, it pulls together the power of many, but it also, in other ways, it takes away the onus of you having to do too much on your own. So if you don't feel like you can give it as much of a push, then you can come back and say, all right, I don't really know what I can do with this beyond that. I will have boilerplate templates which I can send to all of you and tell you, all right, use these. And I can even write up advice on, these are our tips on how to make it work. This is what we would advise each and every one of you do. And we definitely do that anyways, because obviously, like I said, we want to make this a power of 100 times each and every person's network size. So it is in our best interest to be quite concerted in this marketing effort. So we'd have the templates, we'd have what we suggest you start off writing. We're also creating those nice memes and videos and things like that. So you'd have quite a few tools and bits to take and push forward, and you'd be able to rely on the main website to link out to your individual thing, but you'd also then be able to use all of these various elements from your own websites and push them individually as well. So it should be both ways. The ideal symbiosis would be where you're doing your bit, which is feeding into the collective bit as well. And the way to do it is to make sure all works are cross-referencing all other, back to the main project, and hence all the other ones. And that's how you multiply that synergy. And I hate to use words like synergy, and I find myself using it too much, but here it is a synergy. So,
and it's also my understanding, Fahad, that the more backlinks you have to your website, search engines love that when it comes to search engine optimization. So can you imagine if each of the authors in this challenge has a page and say, these were my fellow authors, these are links to their sites. So everything is kind of backlinking to yours, and it's massive.
Can I just stop you there, actually, Gertrude? I wouldn't recommend all of you linking to all of you, because Google actually sees that as people grouping up and forming a sort of cartel, and Google doesn't like that.
All right.
So you actually have to be quite careful with that. The way you have to do it is everybody links back to the central site, and the central site links back to everybody. But it shouldn't be that y'all cross-link to each other, because otherwise Google sees it as what they call a link network. And people used to do a lot of that in the year 2003 to 2005. So basically groups of people would come together and say, I'll link to all of your websites, you all link to mine. And so we've got 100 times 110,000 links suddenly flying around. And Google cracked down on all of them and shut them all down and penalized them. So no, we shouldn't, for links, don't do it that way. For links, it has to be each one of you goes to links to the main website, and the main website links to each one of you. You might at the most link to 2 or 3 other people. That's fine if you all personally want to for some reason, but don't cross-link too much amongst yourselves. Cross-share as much as you want, but don't cross-link too much. Steffi, to your question, Steffi's asked if we should maybe link to people in the same genre. I'd leave that up to you. There's no... I wouldn't put any guidelines on that. Do it naturally. Do it in a way where you would do it just normally without search engines. Oh, sorry, what was your question?
Okay, so I'm writing a young adult novel under a different name, and
Yep.
I'll be honest, I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. I don't know about everybody else, but how would it work if it was a case of, if I was to do it, Steffi Dawn writing as SD Life? So I'm promoting my two selves at once, because I know a lot of authors do it. You've got Anne Rice, who's an amazing erotica writer. Her books were first published under a different name, but now they all come under Anne Rice as da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Steffi, can I just stop you?
Yep, go
Can
on.
you guys mute? Can you mute your sound? Somebody's typing and we can't hear. So mute your sound when someone is speaking, please. Steffi, I don't know if you heard that, Farhad, but I missed a bit of it.
I heard. So what Steffi is asking is that, you know, she has two personalities and she's writing as somebody else. So how is she to promote this? The quick answer, Steffi, is that you push it as the author. In the real world, this is the same as Procter & Gamble having a whole bunch of brands. You know, Procter & Gamble makes Dove soap, they make, I forget what else, they make all sorts of soaps and shampoos and toilet paper, and each brand is its own entity. Even though some people may know it's part of Procter & Gamble, that's not what they push. They're not pushing the Procter & Gamble brand. They're pushing, you know, the individual Dove soap or Kleenex or so on and so forth. The same way you are pushing the author. You are not pushing your personal self for this, unless you want to push your personal self. But you need to decide which one you want to push for this particular book. And if you're writing it as somebody, it's that personality that you're trying to big up, not Steffi. Does that make sense to you? Great.
Thank you.
No problem. You're welcome.
Any other questions, guys?
I have one question.
So yep.
Just about the press release on a local level, are we going to have something that you want officially to go out to our local press as we're publishing, as we're marketing our own books here? Just in the way that we talk about the project as a whole?
I think, Farhad, if we create a template that can be personalized for each author, that would be the way to go. So we'll get a template to you guys, and then you can personalize it for each person.
Yes, absolutely.
That would be the best way to go. So then we're committed, I think, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, so it's the same with, you know, the website, the list you want.
That's great.
Great, thank you. Because that feels like it'll be much better. Also, because a lot of even the local papers and the like go up on net. So you can imagine if we're all writing pretty much the same thing, all of a sudden it's going to become a very, very, very big story, even just based on local media.
Absolutely. And that's the idea. 100 times anything starts becoming a trending topic very quickly.
Mm-hmm. So exciting.
That's absolutely what we want.
Yeah, this is so cool. If any of you guys need websites, please get in touch with me. Those who need sites, get in touch with me as soon as possible. We need to start getting everybody's sites up and running.
Yep.
So there's a question there from Clarissa. Do you want to speak to that?
Hello there.
Hi.
Do you see? Well, to clarify, my question is: I already have an author's website that I developed back in 2008, and I've written books before, so everything is posted there regarding my writings. And so how would, what suggestions do you all have as far as me being in this, program and it being uniform, what you're saying, everyone trying to, speak the same message with their website?
No. I think you've lost us a bit here. So each person is individual. You've all got your individual websites. I have mine. You have yours. The only difference is that we have a common site, which is the How to Write a Book in 40 Hours, that profiles you. So there'll be a page on that site about you as an author, and it links back to your website. So you each keep your individual identities. We're not making a uniform new site. That's not what we're saying.
Okay, thank you, because I came in late. I just wanted to make sure I didn't misunderstand. So thanks for the clarification.
But what you can also do, Clarissa, is that, for one, we will provide you with the templates, and you can then take bits from that template and talk about the project on your website. So you can reference the project and tell people that you're part of this, which gives you a whole new level of credibility. And, you piggyback on that, but you personalize it to your domain and to your style and everything. The same way with all the other collateral that we create. You can choose which ones you use, which ones you don't, and you can choose how you style it and how you push it on your website or on your blog or on your social profiles. The idea being that we create the templates and then you take as much or as little of it as you see fit.
Okay, thank you. That's great, because I'm really anxious to do that part. I love working on my website, so that's going to be really, really fun for me. Adding that part to my website, because this is an awesome. This is just great. I love it. So.
Okay. That makes sense. Excellent.
Okay, so if there's no more questions, if any other questions come up, please email them through to me. Email is going to be better than the Facebook group wall because it's moving so fast. I'm missing things. It's falling off the edge. That page is so active. So rather email the information through to me and I'll pass them on to Farhad and we'll get some answers back to you. But the important thing now is we need to bring our number up to 100. Now, you know that I've invited a lot of people. Some are more active than others. I am looking for people like you, the movers and the shakers, to come on board with the first 100 authors. So before the end of this week, please, I need you to introduce another self-motivated person, share the vision of what this is, because we have just scratched the surface here. This is huge. And now you know what it is. Grab another person, introduce them to the group. Let's push our number to 100. I know I've got about 300 people on that page, but they're not all active. They're not all active. So please do me that favor. We need 100 energized, motivated people to fully commit to this. And then it's just going to take off. So Farhad, thank you so much for, man, this is going to be absolutely amazing. And if you could stay on the line just for a few minutes, I just want to catch up with you with a few things that came up for me. The rest of you, I will see you same time tomorrow. If you've got any challenges that have come up.
Sorry, did you want to also explain to people about, I think you started telling them about the fact that there'll be a new page on the domain where they'd be able to go and contribute, and then we...
Yes, so we're going to create a page on the domain where you can contribute your $100 towards the marketing and the getting the website functional. So please, that is just a minimum. If we each do that, this thing will just take off. As soon as the link is up, I will send it to you, and then let's just do this. So I'll catch up with you guys same time tomorrow. And thank you for playing this game. It's going to be amazing. Cheers, guys. See ya. Wow. This is exciting, Farhad. Yeah, I am in awe as to
I think
what
it's
could
gonna be
potentially come out of this.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
you see, the thing that excites me the most, okay, so this is my question. We
So,
need to
Gertrude,
trademark
we're
this. Is
still
there
on
any
air.
way? Hey?
We're still